Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we are going to be talking about KASHTIRA and how to counter it. It's going to be a menace on the ladder, so I hope you guys are ready for that. That stuff is going to drop probably mid-October, so it's best to prepare ahead of time. So these cards are very budget friendly for the most part. Some of them aren't, but for the most part, a lot of these are budget friendly. So we're going to talk about the top 10 cards that I think are going to have a big impact in the KASHTIRA meta. And the first one is probably the most negligible out of all of them, which is Imperial Iron Wall. This is a trap card. Neither player can banish cards. And guess what? If your opponent can't banish cards, they can't banish anything out of your deck, anything on the field. They can't trigger Shangri-Era's effect to lock down your board. They're pretty much just going to have big beat sticks. And big beat sticks sometimes win the game. And they're also going to still be able to XZ summon, but they're going to be hindered a lot. Trust me, this card will definitely be very, very annoying for them to play with. But it's probably the worst card on this list as we move forward. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it ends up being meta. I don't know. But I think this is going to be a pretty good card that you can use that might be outside the box. Yeah, it's pretty budget friendly as an SR that you can use in ladder to play against KASHTIRA threats. So let's move on to number 9. So number 9, we got Chaos Hunter. And this card is going to be really good in my opinion. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard a card, special summon this card, and then your opponent cannot banish cards. So this doesn't hinder you, and on top of it not hindering you, it's a level 7. So there's some little niceness if you play with cash as well, if you're playing cash cards. So technically you can do your full cash combo, and then if your opponent ends up playing cash, you can literally Chaos Hunter them, and then they're locked out of doing anything with their cash cards, and your cards are live. So this could be a very good tech option for those mirror matches. The thing about doing it on turn 1 when your opponent's playing, it does lock out their turn, but it does give it, if you're playing cash too, they could go into Big Eye, suck up this monster, and then you have to play against your own Chaos Hunter, which could be really annoying unless you're playing other board breakers. So this card could be very, very good, but at the same time, there are some scary downsides to it, which is why it's at number 9 on the list. And but I think it's going to be still a very good card to interact with them. And remember, it's only one-sided, so your strategy stays alive, their strategy dies. So I think that's why we got this above Imperial Iron Wall. And plus, it's a monster. It's not a trap, so you don't have to deal with any like pesky annoyances of like, oh, I'm going second and I have Imperial Iron Wall. It doesn't really help you when you're going second, does it? Yeah, so we're going to go to number 8 now. Alright, for number 8, we got Triple Tactics Talent. Now, this is going to be in the same tier as Change of Heart. The only reason I have them both on the same, because they kind of have similar effects on why they're good. I think Triple Tactics Talent is a bit more versatile, so that's why I'm showing it instead of the Change of Heart. Because if you're going first, this card's really, really strong. You could neg someone's hand count. You can just rip a card out of their hand. You can use it as the Change of Heart effect if you're going second. And you can draw 2 cards, which sometimes that's the best effect of them all, right? Everyone loves drawing cards. So this card's going to be very, very strong, mainly because of that take control effect, though. That's going to be a very powerful effect to do, which is why sometimes Change of Heart just might be better, because Change of Heart doesn't have to go through this loophole where a monster effect has to be activated during your main phase. And I think people play around talents a lot. A lot of people are activating their effects now in either the standby phase or draw phase, so it makes Triple Tactics Talent a little bit worse, So maybe Change of Heart is the play. And Change of Heart is at 2, so it's going to be pretty relevant in this meta. So if you don't have it crafted, it is a UR. You might want to be looking at maybe making it. I don't know. It's gonna be good in this meta though. So watch out for it and just be prepared to play against it as well. Now for number 7, we got Evenly Matched. I know you guys were expecting this card. You might have expected it higher in the list, but this card has some downsides. So one of the downsides, obviously, not being a quick player or anything, you can't activate. You have to go into the battle phase. So there's opportunity for your opponent to lock your entire back row. If they end up locking your back row, you locked out evenly. Now you can make the same argument with Change of Heart and stuff. So there's that. But Evenly is, if you're able to resolve it, is going to be very devastating. The only thing I will say, Evenly by itself, they could just keep the Shangri-Ira, and then your board still has all those locked zones, and then they can build still upon that. So Evenly is not the end all be all, but when you combine it with some of the other cards on this list, that we'll talk about later, it's going to be pretty devastating. So we'll get into that, but yeah, we're going to put this at number 7. Now for number 6, we're going to have Kaijus and Lava Golem on the same level. They pretty much have the same effect. They tribute opponents' monsters, and they put this big annoying monster on their side of the field. That has a big attack, but they have pretty much no effect to like really dumb effect. Like this one's actually a hindering effect because they take 1,000 damage every standby. So yeah, I think this is going to be extremely important because these Kaijus, you already see how important they are in today's meta with Pearly being so good. You can small world these targets out of your deck, so like they're all like, searchable. It's like if you play 3 Kaijus, it's almost like you're playing 6 because you got the small worlds, and they also sometimes are really good bridges to your other like engine cards. So they're not even really that dead of a card to open in your hand. Plus, it's just going to be a very good card into those matchups. Now, Lava Golem, obviously, you need to be playing a deck that doesn't really need to use their normal summon. But again, you got Makamko, you got certain decks like that just abuse this card left and right. You got Valence you can use that abuses this card too. So yeah, I'm looking pretty forward to being able to Lava Golem some of these KASHTIRA players. So, but there is a better Kaiju, and we're going to be talking about that next. So number 5, top 5 of the list, we got Kurikara, Divine Incarnate. So this card is another Kaiju-like effect, but it comes with a twist. So this thing gains a massive amount of attack every time it tributes a card. And it can tribute all monsters that activated their effects this turn. So what does that mean? It's going to probably tribute their Arise Heart when they get that. It's going to tribute their Shangri-Ira. It could tribute possibly their other KASHTIRA monsters. And if it tributes just like 4 monsters, let's say it tributes like 3 monsters bare minimum, we're talking about like a monster that's going to be 6k attack. Like that's pretty enormous. So I think this card is going to be really, really crazy. And plus it has a secondary effect a lot of people don't even talk about. During the end phase, you can target one opponent you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your side of the field. So that means most decks are playing Fenrir, right? So that means you're going to be able to tribute their KASHTIRA Shangri-Ira, and then you can special summon it to your side of the field. And then after that, you're going to be able to special summon your Fenrir out of your deck with the Shangri-Ira. Assuming you don't kill them. I mean, you're probably going to kill them if you use this card or they're going to scoop. This is going to be a very powerful card. Is it better than Kaiju's? Not 100% sure. It might be on the same level. But it's going to be a very interesting and powerful card. These people are going to have to recognize and play around this card too. Alrighty, now we got Swords of Concealing Light coming in at number 4. You might be saying, that's a bit wacky. But this card's going to flip all your opponent's monsters to face down position, right? And then you can do whatever you want, right? And they cannot change their battle positions while this card's on the field. And guess what? You're probably going to beat them just with 1 Swords of Revealing Light if you're playing this card, because most people that play this card, they're playing some type of OTK deck. And if you don't beat them, you just clog their entire board, and now you get to play the game. So it's almost like a Uno reverse Shangri-Ira effect. Because instead of now they're locked with their entire board's locked with a bunch of different monsters. So this card's gonna be extremely powerful. The only problem with this card is, again, it's not a quick play. So your opponent, if he locks out your entire spell and trap zone, you're not gonna be able to play this. And also, this card, it cannot be combined with Evenly Match. So if you play this card, flip their cards face down, you can't evenly them, which is a really nice combo to be able to do. So it is what it is, but that's why it's at number 4 and it's not higher, but we're gonna go to the top 3 right now. Okay, Book of Moon. Talk about a versatile card. I mean, this could arguably be number 2, but we're gonna have it at number 3. This card, not only are going to be able to just shut down the Arise Heart or the Shangri-Ira immediately with this, so they can't lock into your zones, you're going to be able to also use this to like stop yourself from getting impermed, effect veilered. It's going to be it's a very versatile card already. The deck's playing it usually like Flonderies or something like that. But yeah, this card is going to be really good in this meta, and I don't think you guys realize how good it's going to be. So remember, you can activate this in the draw step, which is why I think it's going to be insane, because it's a quick play. So you can draw step, Book of Moon, the target you want to stop down, probably Shangri-Ira, especially if your spell and trap zones are about to get fully locked. So you can shut down that card before they get their summon out. And then you can just go to battle, go evenly match, and then boom, their whole board's gone. So yeah, this is going to be a very powerful card. And there's not really much to say about it. It's just going to be really good in this meta. And I think most people are going to be playing this. If not, I'll be very surprised. But we're going to talk about number 2, which could arguably be number 3, but it's going to be its brother. So Book of Eclipse is its brother. So what does this card do? This flips all monsters on the field into face down defense position. So this card has a downside to it though. So even though the effect is way more powerful, the downside to this card is during the end phase, change everything back to face up defense position, and they draw cards equal to the number of cards that are flipped back face up. But again, you combine this with evenly match, your opponent is cut. They are screwed. They gotta just leave the match. This is going to be a very tilting card for them to play against. This is to equate this to like say when Drytron was a top deck. This is the droplet to Drytron. This is like the way you just cuck them, and they're just like, oh, I guess I'm fucked. So yeah, this is going to be a very powerful card, very good card. Does that mean you auto win the game? No, because you still have to like deal with their board so they don't draw 30 cards. But it is a very good start to that turn. It's probably one of the best starts you can have to that turn. So let's talk about the number 1 card, and it should be pretty obvious if you guys don't got it by now. The number 1 card that we haven't talked about, Nibiru the Primal Being. This card is coming back at full force. Make sure you get 3 copies of this, because I'm telling you right now, this card is going to bend a lot of people's careers on here. Like, you're going to be playing Cash, and this card's going to keep, this big rock's going to keep coming in to ruin your day. And can you play around this? If you're playing Cash, can you play around this? Not really. Like, yeah, you can just go into Shangri-Ira pass, but like that's not the greatest. Like, you can beat that board. That's not a winning board. Like, if they're going full combo, they have to play into it, and the only way they're going to be able to play into this is if they're doing some type of plays where they're setting up like a Baron Baron, like a Baron negate. So that's the only way we're going to be able to really stop this. Cross out Designator, that card's at 1. So, I mean, people are going to have to get creative with how they're going to stop Nibiru the Primal Being, because I'm going to tell you right now, this card is coming in full force. It's going to be very good. So I think decks that are going to be able to run a ton of hand traps with Nibiru is going to really have a good time here. Maxi obviously is going to be a top hand trap too against them, because it will allow you to draw into Nibiru. I just didn't want to put Maxi on here because it's kind of a lame card to put to begin with, because it's so obvious. But yeah, Maxi is going to be very helpful in this meta, because if you Maxi and they don't have Ash or anything, they either have to end their turn because they're afraid you're going to draw into Nibiru, which completely neuters their entire deck, and they just gave you like 5-6 cards, so they're just going to have to concede immediately, or they just pass and hope that you can't kill them. It's going to be very strong. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want me to make more videos like this when brand new powerful decks come out, where I go over like counter cards, let me know down in the comments. I just don't. I usually just stick with the deck profiles, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to branch out and do some new different content, you know, trying to reach my feelers out there. So let me know. Bye.